What's up everybody, welcome to Money Management channel. My name is Andrei and today I'm gonna be doing an update on MMTLP and FINRA saga.
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up.
And for today's video, guys, I have basically just a couple of news, couple of the most important news in my opinion. And I will show you, first of all, the response of Scott Roth in regards to the most recent judge's decision on his case. On top of that, I will show you quite interesting investigation and quite interesting thoughts from George Palikars in regards to the fractional shares and how these shares might be connected to the illegal actions on the US stock market. So, and before we dive deep into all of this, guys, please hit the like button for YouTube algorithm and drop me a line in the comment section if you think my videos are valuable for you. So let's start with this tweet that was written by Scott Roth just several hours ago. And he wrote, "Schwab and myself are executing a ceasefire this AM while Judge Race is evaluating my motion for declaratory judgment to shut down FINRA, and also because she hasn't ruled on spoliation of evidence issues with Schwab nor my arbitration. The judge dismissed my GTS and FINRA claims after I abandoned the RICO and CFAA claims I had against them, and the court was not going by my damages threshold under the CFAA, nor could I stretch all of the parties into RICO. But all is not lost. She gave me 20 days to file an amended complaint with the new counts Clayton Act securities fraud against FINRA and GTS. I'm dropping RICO and CFAA against Schwab, and I'm adding to the 2 securities fraud counts against them. I'm kind of happy as I am case 7 in MMTLP and I was the first not shown the door and thrown out. I'm the first to be given leave to amend and it was the first ruling on FINRA that opened the door to declaratory judgment against them, which, if approved, shuts them down. Even Vivek Ramaswamy was citing the cases that are critical here, as he's talked about the cases from SCOTUS, then ran in the agencies and fourth branch. The pleading and proof standard for the Clayton Act is much easier than the FRCP 9 for securities fraud, and it also allows for multiple damages, like RICO. Here is the big news. Under the Clayton Act, you have 4 years to statute of limitations. So, plan B for those who follow on to my suit is to use Clayton Act as a firewall. And guys, if this happens, if Scott succeeds in this type of allegations, definitely the statute of limitations will be switched to 4 years, and in this case we will have at least 2 additional years for the fair decision. So, I have until December the 9th of 2024 to file second amended complaint. And guys, yesterday I showed you that it is exactly the same date. Basically, it is the date of 2 years of illegal use rehaut. So, in other news, yes, there are a bunch of MMTLP shareholders who have seen the light and are targeting McCabe, Brda, Plant and some social media fraudster here on X for multiple violations of the Securities and Exchange Act. McCabe was served process yesterday in his Heidi Hall in Texas. Yep. NBH doesn't have its own office and hasn't for a while, coupled with the fact he doesn't appear to have any oil leases in Louisiana. The clock is ticking on him getting 1. The mother of all SEC compliance, and 2. A shareholder lawsuit that will name all his bodies and NDA talking heads. So guys, quite interesting statement, and I have to admit that the most important part from this tweet is that he is still fighting. And he has 20 days till the deadline, new deadline, and this deadline might be more than enough to file an amendment. And I have to admit that Scott is not a weak person. He is a very strong man, and I think he will continue to fight till the very end. But guys, at the same time, under this tweet, I have a lot of tweets, and these tweets have quite opposite intention. On the one hand, some people like J.R. Ewing wanted to help Scott, but I have to admit that, in my opinion, Scott is the person who has some problems in interactions with people, and on the one hand I can understand him for 100% because he is the only fighter for now for this quite crowded community, and definitely not so many people want to see him as a leader in this fight. And because of this, some community members attacked him and blamed him that he shouldn't perform these actions. And that is why, guys, it is just the nature of people to protect themselves. That is why, in my opinion, Scott is trying to defend himself and protect his actions. That is why he is acting and he is reacting on the help in a quite unusual manner. And guys, I don't want to dig deeper inside these comments. You can read it by yourself. There is nothing substantial in this information, but I want to pay attention to another quite interesting set of tweets that were written by George Palacras, and he wrote it just several hours ago. And guys, on the first glance there is a mistake in calculations, but I will show you that it is quite interesting update from George himself. So let me quote it to you in details. A lot of people have asked me. I checked my notes, and here are some interesting stock stats under both QCIPs, MMAT and MMTLP. In June 2023 and June 2024 respectively, out of 60 plus broker-dealers, the largest broker-dealers by number of accounts held in street name were Fidelity, top at 23 plus 1,000 and 17 plus 1,000 accounts respectively, followed by TD Ameritrade 10K plus and 13K plus, Schwab 15K plus and 6K plus, E-Trade 15K plus and 10K plus, and Apex 10K plus and 3K plus. TradeStation was only 270 plus and 175 plus. What is interesting is the existence of fractional shares under MMAT. There were only 4 broker-dealers who offered fractional shares: Apex and Drive Wealth LLC 5 decimals, TD Ameritrade 3 decimals, Schwab and Vanguard 1 decimal. Under MMTLP there was just one who traded fractional shares: Apex, fractional to 5 decimal points. An interesting coincidence: Drive Wealth transactions were registered under the same address in New Jersey City, New Jersey, as Stockcross Financial Service, which merged into Muriel, Siebert & Co. in January of 2020. This commercial address in New Jersey held over 1,100 accounts with fractional shares, and the time they also set an interesting negative record. One of their Stockcross Siebert accounts, let's call him Mr. White for now, held 1/50 of a share. In other words, they owned 0.00002 shares. Yes, this is the actual number reported to 5 decimal points. Definition: a fractional share represents a portion of a full share of stock. For example, if you own 1/50 of a share, you possess 0.00002 shares. And guys, on the first glance it is a mistake, because 1/50 of a share is just 0.02 shares. But let me quote you further. Looking back at the filings, you can find that per the terms of TRCH MMT merger transactions stated. And here is the definition of how these fractional shares should be handled. In no event shall any fractional Torchlight shares or exchangeable shares be issued under the plan of arrangement, where the aggregate number of Torchlight shares or exchangeable shares to be issued to a shareholder as a consideration under the plan of arrangement would result in a fraction of a Torchlight share or exchangeable share being issuable. Then the number of Torchlight shares or exchangeable shares, as the case may be, to be issued to such shareholder will be rounded down to the nearest whole number, and no payment shall be made in lieu of the issuance of a fractional Torchlight share or exchangeable share. Of course, AST was well aware and fully complied with this formula, so on day 1 post-merger, June 28, 2021, there was 0 fractional shares on either side. To be continued. And here is the second part. Let me quote it for you. I'm really glad to see many of you actually read my post and commented back. Thank you. For those who didn't catch my Easter egg, For someone to own 0.0002 fractional of a share, 5 decimal point, and for now he mentioned on only 4 decimal points, you would break the share up into 50,000 tiny pieces. So Mr. White owned 1/50,000th of a single share, not 1/50th. Why should you care? Mr. White's was not a single exceptional case. There are 1,000 of broker-dealers accounts that show less than 1 share, all trading in 5 decimals, just in one stock, MMAT and MMTLP. Now that I have your attention, here are some additional observations and questions. First, who regulates how many decimal points you are allowed to trade fractional shares? Given that each broker-dealer seems to operate under its own internal policy, which can be completely different from broker to broker, why not set the fraction at 1 millionth or hell, why not 1 billionth? Where does this stop and who stops it? Also, how are such shares reported to the DTCC level? If fractional shares are to support retail, which is being discussed by some super genius analysts, given that MMAT and MMTLP always had from 60k to 20k plus retail shareholders at any one time post-merger, why isn't every retail-friendly broker-dealer showing up in our Nobos with similar tons of a fractional share counts? Let that sink in for a second. Also curious, what's so special about Apex, for example? Who is the only broker-dealer in MMTLP with reported fractional shares? Don't forget to comment to eliminate us all, especially those of you working directly or indirectly for such broker-dealers. Speaking about broker-dealers and DTCC, when you get a chance, check out the names of the DTCC board appointments in 2022. Is it Easter yet? To be continued. Next up, in part 3, what types of trades use fractional shares with the intention to illegally manipulate stock and the market? And here is the part 3. Guys, this is a quite long tweet, and I have to admit that these 12 waves of the handling of these fractional shares are quite interesting, and I don't want to dig deeper inside it. You can do it by yourself, but guys, I want just pay your attention to the problem that George Palikoros raised in his set of tweets, because in general, yes, the main question for now is who regulates it? Who regulates the partial shares, and why in the world, despite the statement of MMAT and Meta Materials, despite of the filings of MMTLP, why these fractional shares still exist, at least at one broker-dealer? And who is standing behind this broker-dealer? Guys, these questions are really important in my opinion, and that is why, guys, it is not the end. We are still fighting, and potentially we will switch the Statute of Limitations because of Scott Roth's lawsuit, and time will tell who is the real wrongdoer and how we can win this battle. And guys, let me tell you my personal story. I have a wife and 2 children aged 11 and 15, as well as a small dog. After 30 years of living in Russia near the Baikal Lake, we decided to move. Now we reside in Serbia. Although I don't own any MMTLP shares, I invest a lot of time creating daily MMTLP videos. I have been doing this every day without days off and holidays for more than 1.5 years. Now I wish to buy back this time from my family, from my children. We've agreed that I will ask the MMTLP community to support me, and I will give all the money to the children. Therefore, if you believe that I am providing useful content for you and wish to support me, you can join my Patreon account. For $5 a month, I will add your name to my list of supporters if you wish. Thank you in advance. The link you can find in the description below. So, I think that's all information that I want to provide you. If you like my video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, and see you guys and girls next time. Bye!
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, doing no cap. Only God wants you.